I'm Rick Leventhal, and this is the Fox Report. It's the bottom of the hour. If you're just joining us, the president made comments moments ago on everything from DACA to North Korea. This as the blame game over DACA intensifies. President Trump doubling down on his attacks against Democrats. The president and Congress attempting to reach an agreement on immigration reform as part of a spending bill that must pass by Friday to avoid a government shutdown. But the president doesn't appear too optimistic that they'll get this done. He tweeted earlier, quote, DACA is probably dead because the Democrats don't really want it. They just want to talk and take desperately needed money away from our military. I, as president, want people coming into our country who are going to help us become strong and great again. People coming in through a system based on merit. No more lotteries. America first. Despite the current impasse, at least one Democrat remains hopeful they'll strike a deal.
I'm encouraged. I mean, first of all, we have a bipartisan recommendation, a bipartisan legislation that's been worked out after they sat down last week with the president, and it seems to do everything that was asked of them. I would be very, very encouraged that hopefully all my colleagues are going to look at this in a very positive way. And if the president said what he said, as far as you give me something in a bipartisan way, something you work out and I'll sign it. We hope to get that done and move on, but this is all the hyper that's going on around it is unbelievable to me.
So Senator Manchin says he's encouraged. How about Morgan Chalfant, reporter for The Hill? Morgan, before we get to your reaction to all this, we do want to play back the president's comments just moments ago at the International Golf Club down in West Palm Beach. Here's President Trump, and then we'll get your reaction.
We've got a lot of things. There are a lot of things to talk about. We'll be talking about DACA also. Is there going to be a deal this week? Well, I don't think honestly, I don't think the Democrats want to make a deal. I think they talk about DACA, but they don't want to help the DACA people. Now, we used to say the DACA children, but the children aren't children. Well, what's the sticking point? I think you have a lot of sticking points, but they're all Democrat sticking points because we are ready, willing, and able to make a deal, but they don't want to. They don't want security at the border. We have people pouring in. They don't want security at the border. They don't want to stop drugs. And they want to take money away from our military, which we cannot do. So those are some of the sticking points. Do you think your comments the other day made it harder? Did you see what various senators in the room said about my comments? They weren't made. No, I'm not a racist. I am the least racist person you have ever interviewed. That I can tell you.
Are you going to make a deal, Mr. President?
I don't know if there'll be a shutdown. There shouldn't be, because if there is, our military gets hurt very badly. We cannot let our military be hurt. Well, that was a state thing, but we're going to now get involved with them. I love that they took responsibility. They took total responsibility, but we're going to get involved. Their attitude and what they want to do, I think it's terrific. They took responsibility. They made a mistake.
Well, do you guys make more than that?
Say it?
What will you do to make sure something like that?
Well, we hope it won't happen again, but part of it is that people are on edge, but maybe eventually we'll solve the problem, so they won't have to be so on edge.
Have you communicated with Kim Jong-un to share your comments?
Well, we'll see what happens. They have a couple of meetings scheduled, a couple of additional meetings scheduled. We're going to see what happens. Hopefully it's all going to work out. We will see.
Have you talked directly to him, Mr. President?
Well, the Wall Street Journal, as you know, quoted totally wrong. But we're going to see what happens with North Korea. We have great talks going on. The Olympics you know about. A lot of things can happen.
Do you have a responsibility to make a deal on DACA? Is it your responsibility, Mr. President?
Oh, we're ready, willing, and able to make a deal on DACA, but I don't think the Democrats want to make a deal. And the folks from DACA should know the Democrats are the ones that aren't going to make a deal. Okay? Thank you, everybody. Enjoy yourselves. Thank you.
I know there's a lot there, Morgan. Let's just go back to DACA. It looked like they might be close to a deal earlier this week, and now they seem pretty far apart.
Right, Rick, as you heard there, that was the president doubling down on those tweets that he sent out this morning, saying that Democrats don't want to make a deal. Certainly seems like those comments show that a bipartisan deal on DACA is all the more unlikely, especially ahead of this crucial government shutdown deadline. Of course, the president there really emphasizing that Democrats are to blame if a deal isn't reached, which, of course, is his effort to then, in turn, if the government is shut down, pin the blame on Democrats there. So certainly doesn't seem like they're anywhere closer to a bipartisan deal despite any progress that was made last week.
Well, some of that progress involved an agreement by this bipartisan group of senators to include $1.6 billion for the border wall. And then what happened?
Well, it was all thrown into disarray last Friday when these reports came out about alleged comments that Trump made during the meeting on DACA with bipartisan lawmakers. Obviously, that has really roiled the debate and dominated it over this, and it seems that Trump is kind of taking a hard line on Democrats now, especially because many of them have come out highly criticizing him for these comments that he is said to have made, disparaging Haiti and other African countries. So that's certainly thrown a wrench in things, and I think it's really influenced the debate at this point.
Is a government shutdown likely? What's the sense there in D.C.?
Well, there's always that threat. I think that, Republicans and Democrats both have reasons not to want to shut the government down. That's certainly it's certainly a political liability for either party, I think, at this point. The president also, even though he seeks to blame Democrats, could also have blame pinned on himself as well because he's been drawing such a hard line on the things that he wants out of this DACA deal.
Yeah.
So I think that it's possible, but at this point, there are several days left until the government actually shuts down, and we do see Congress kind of scrambling at the last minute to get these issues resolved.
Well, one of the things that he's firm on wanting is curtailing chain migration, and it seems like Democrats are holding out on this.
Well, yeah, he certainly has multiple things that he's demanding. The funds for the border wall. Democrats are, not really giving him too much, and he doesn't seem to be willing to give them much either. So I think at this point it seems to be sort of stalled. And of course, as I mentioned, the controversy surrounding that meeting on Friday really hasn't helped things. It's kind of furthered those partisan divides, and also Republicans have been critical of the president as well. So that certainly hasn't been very helpful for him.
Yeah, well, we heard from the Deputy White House Press Secretary Raj Shah on Fox News Sunday this morning suggesting that the leaks from that meeting that you referred to about the comments that the president allegedly made could have spiked any hope for a resolution. And it really does seem like these two sides are now seriously butting heads and further apart than they could have been.
Right, and I believe Senator Rand Paul made similar observations today, and it's roiled the debate, as I mentioned. We've got some Republicans coming out and criticizing the president, Representative Mia Love, and then you have others that are defending him. So, it's not exactly clear what happened in that meeting, but what is clear is that it's certainly thrown the debate over DACA in quite a tizzy, and I think that it's going to continue to influence it and really dominate the conversation going forward in the next few days.
One other question on this topic, Morgan. Immigration officials are encouraging some 800,000 Dreamers in America to apply for renewals now before it's too late. Can you explain why that's happening?
Because the Trump administration plans to shut this down in March. And of course, if Congress doesn't agree on a deal to actually make this program law, it's going to expire.
Yeah.